Welcome to Coping with Ghosting, the podcast that provides hope, healing, and understanding for anyone who's been ghosted, betrayed, or left behind. Today, I'm exploring the question, what if confusion is a virtue? My guest, Giovanna Silvestre, is the co-founder of Confused Girl in the City, a global activewear brand, and her work has been showcased on NBC as well as in Forbes and LA Yoga. A University of Southern California graduate, Giovanna transitioned from the entertainment industry into a path of self-discovery and is now a prominent lifestyle and wellness influencer, entrepreneur, and author of the new book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here. I have to say, I love the title of your podcast, ghosting and betrayal. And I feel like it's something that is so in the zeitgeist of everyone right now.
Unfortunately, it is a silent pandemic.
You're right. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is. It's like a virus just going through society. And I definitely have been tempted to catch it, but I have avoided it.
Good job. Good on you. Well, I read an advance copy of your book and loved it. And I really appreciate how in this book you reframe life's challenges and turn them into catalysts for growth. And I've come up with some questions that dive into the key themes of the book as they relate to ghosting and in a way that can help people who have been betrayed and ghosted. So my first question is, what advice do you have for those currently feeling stuck and unworthy, especially those who have been hurt and abandoned?
I really believe that you're never going to be satisfied with yourself and life if you're constantly turning to external things. It's like if you need the validation from the boyfriend, or you need the validation from the girlfriend, or you need the validation from the money and the career and this and that, because everything external can be taken away from you like that. And just as we're seeing even now, like back in the day, couples did stay together, like divorce was rare. And now it's like, well, we're getting married, but this could end in divorce. That's like a high probability. So just the probability that people are going to be passing through your life is very high. And so if you put all of your worth and identity into another person or things, you're going to get really hurt, and you're not going to have a strong sense of self. You're not going to be very confident. And so my whole thing was, and I know this because I did it. I did put my validation and my self-worth into all external things to end up completely depressed and lost and feeling very unworthy. And in that moment, I realized that I was like, oh, wow, like I had been living my life as an image. I want this, I want this, I want this, so that it looks good to the outside world. When in actuality, nobody really cares because everyone's really just caring about themselves. So I had to, at that point, I said to myself, what I want more than anything in this world right now is to feel good in my own skin without it being about anything external. I want to wake up one day and just feel really good about me just because I exist, not because I did something great or because I have more money or a new car or a new guy or whatever. I just want to feel good about Giovanna. And I think that is something we should all be kind of taught as kids, to get to know how to do that, to go inward and find our own self-worth and our own guidance system and our own purpose. But we're very much taught to just think external, external, external. But if you don't work on the internal and you don't cultivate the internal, you're at some point, you're going to feel like there's this like crazy void in you that you can't fill. And that's a very depressing cycle to be in.
So how can somebody achieve this?
In my book, like, like I talk about a lot of different things that I did, and I give like a lot of tips about, things you can do, things that help me. And first, it's having the intention to want that. You have to, because I hit such a rock bottom where I was like, okay, I understand now that these external things aren't making me happy, and I want to feel happy. You have to have that desire to want to just be happy in your own skin. Because if you don't have that desire yet, you're not going to do it. If you still are believing that something external is going to fulfill you, then you're not going to get there. You know what I'm saying? So, first, you kind of have to have that knowing and understanding. And then you have to have the intention that you want something different. So, that's like first step, right? Then the second step, I think, is, finding a way to quiet your mind. And because when the mind is super active and you have a packed schedule of a billion things to do and your life has become just a checklist of things you check off, and that's where you get your gratification, you leave no room for, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, the consciousness, universal consciousness. You don't leave any room for that to come and help you and come in. And so you have to give yourself some time, I think, within each day to just have a moment with yourself, to connect with yourself, to ground yourself. And this could be, honestly, anything. This could be journaling. This could be taking a walk. This could, and maybe playing a meditation or just taking a walk quietly. This could be a dance class, yoga, tai chi. I mean, or just meditating, just sitting there and just taking a beat. But I think you have to get your mind quiet to be able to connect with yourself. And so, honestly, if you just start with that, things will just begin to unfold and you'll start to feel better.
I like that. I think it's really easy for people to start small to rebuild their sense of self. So
Yes.
those are great tips. Your story is one of transformation. It's pretty incredible. I hope that listeners go out and grab this book. So, can you share one pivotal moment when you realized peace and self-acceptance were more important than external validation?
Yeah, and okay, so because I had worked in Hollywood, I worked in the entertainment industry, and I was at this crazy mansion. It was the CEO of a huge company that everybody knows, but I'm not gonna share that. But and it was a huge party. And my friend, she worked in film finance, and so she got into all the craziest parties. So we're at the Sundance Film Festival. We're in Deer Valley in this mansion overlooking, Park City, amazing. And celebrities were there and big Hollywood bigwigs and people that worked in the industry. And I just felt like I wanted to run away. Like I just felt so uncomfortable. I felt like I was being fake. I felt like I didn't want to be there. This wasn't me. And see, now I could go into one of those settings and just have fun and just enjoy it for myself and then leave. I mean, sometimes it can be superficial or whatever, but there was nothing weird going on at this party. It wasn't like a P. Diddy party or something. This was like a professional, like networking party. Um, but and now I would just go and I would just enjoy it and have fun. But back then, because I was in the entertainment industry because I was trying to prove to myself that I was good enough and trying to prove to everybody else I was good enough when I didn't feel good enough. So being there, I kind of had like imposter syndrome, and I felt really insecure. And and I just, after that, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't fake this. I was like, I I need to create some peace and some contentment in my being. And it took a bit of time to like, get there and do that. But the first step is just being aware and being okay with what is and not rejecting yourself.
I think we've all experienced moments of extreme discomfort in social settings that just feel like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. Or
Yeah.
maybe not all of us, but I have at least. I'll speak for myself. So I completely understand. And I'm glad that you overcame that. I think I have as well. Like I know that wherever I go now, I'll just be able to enjoy myself rather than feel like I have to prove myself to people or be like, I don't know, as whatever, wealthy or intelligent as them, that kind of thing. Like to feel like I fit in. I just know that I am enough.
See, and that's all you need in this world, really. That's really, if you have that, then everything else you can enjoy. You can enjoy your luxury car, you can enjoy your nice purse or whatever without it being a symbol of your worth. Because when you put your worth, which is of, I believe it's like of God, right? It's when you put it into things, it's you cheapen your worth. And then so it eventually hurts. Like at first the bag or the car will feel good, but then it eventually is not. It's like, whatever. I need the next thing now and the next thing. And then that becomes a very painful existence. But if you feel like you're enough, but granted, we'll all get hit with insecurities. I'll be PMSing and somebody will say something, and then I'm like, like I'm in high school again. And like I'm human, but it goes away quickly, and my worth as a human being isn't hurt. My ego might have been a little chipped at for like a hot second, but then I remind myself of who I am and I'm like, oh, that's silly. Okay, moving on.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, we're human. We're all going to feel some intense feelings sometimes, even the people who have the most confidence, they probably take a little dive sometimes.
No, we all do. It's
Yeah.
part of existing.
Yeah. And we're not defined by our thoughts or our feelings. And, not all of our thoughts are true. And so, no matter what, even if we're having like a down day, we can still know that we're worthy, whole, and complete, even if we're feeling a certain way one day.
Absolutely. And I say that to myself now as well. I'm like, okay, this will pass. This will pass. Even sometimes if it's hormonal, see, for me, it's like really hormonal because I feel great until the hormones come. And then, well, it's interesting because sometimes with the hormones, I'll feel really euphoric.
Mm,
But then when I know that that has happened, then it's like a crash and burn. And I'm like, oh
yeah.
my gosh, it's coming. The crash and burn is coming. But in those times, I just go, you know what? This too shall pass. This too shall pass. It's fine. Just get through it. And then you learn to take care of yourself in those times too. Like, okay, let's go on a walk. Let's go get a massage. Let's go get an ice cream. You kind of treat yourself.
Yeah. Many of my listeners who've been hurt in relationships really struggle with self-love. So, what are some steps or practices they can do to start cultivating more self-love?
Well, again, it goes back to what I kind of said before about having that quiet time. But then also, I think what happens when you're kind of a codependent, and I can be that way as well, you put all of your everything into one person, and maybe you stop doing things with your friends, you stop doing the activities you like and it's all about what he likes, or maybe you don't even know what you like because it's all about what the other person likes. And you need to keep your friendships. You still need to make time for your girlfriends. Also, for a guy too, you cut off your guy friends, you cut off your friends. It's not healthy. It's not healthy to do that. You have to keep your life. You have to make sure that you maintain a life outside of the person that you care about. I have a close friend who told me it should be my life, their life, and our life. There's like three different things there. And I really like that because it's really easy, especially when you fall in love. And I have fallen victim to this as well. It's so easy to lose yourself into somebody else. Cause when I'm Italian, like when I love, I like love and I'm passionate. And so it's just so easy to kind of give yourself away. So if you're somebody that gives yourself away, you got to make sure that you don't. And it's also really important to have boundaries. Because when you really love somebody, you kind of go, "Oh, you can invade my boundaries. I'm okay with that." But part of self-love is having like appropriate boundaries and saying, "I'm okay with this and I'm not okay with this," and knowing yourself. And because when you don't put the boundaries in place and they cross the boundaries and you let that happen, you're teaching them how to treat you. And then also you're betraying yourself, which that's not self-love. Self-betrayal is not self-love. So I think that that's very important, and continue to do the things or to find the things that bring you joy. If that's playing, soccer twice a week with your friends, then a man or a woman should not come in your life and need you to stop doing that. And also, the person you're dating doesn't have to be involved in every little thing that you do. It's some things it's nice to keep just for you. Like I actually would be fine with a partner that liked to do activities outside of what I like. Cuz it's like that's their time to miss me. See, us women, we underestimate the miss.
Mhm.
Men need to miss you. And women need to miss men. But I think women miss men kind of quickly, and men need a little bit more time to miss you.
That's funny. I love this advice. It's so important to have a life outside of your partner. And so often after we've been ghosted, we have all this free time, right? Because so much time was invested in this relationship. And so whether it was being ghosted after a friendship or romance or with a family member, you definitely, I mean, I felt the void because the relationship is now gone. So the question is, how are you going to fill the time, right? What are you going to do? For example, in the past, I would spend all my weekends with my friend, but then she ghosted me. So now I'm like, wait, what do I do during my weekends? And so I use that time to figure out, okay, what do I really, really love? Exactly what you said. What brings me joy? How can I reconstruct my life so that my weekends are fulfilling now and not just something that I don't look forward to because it reminds me of her? So that's really important.
No, it's so important. And also sometimes you have to go through a period of loneliness. And kind of recently for me, this has happened to me, is a couple of people, and one in particular who was a really close friend of mine. I kind of had to distance myself because I realized that I wasn't upholding my boundaries, and she was crossing them, and I was betraying myself. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I want a different energy around me. We would fight a lot. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so letting her go because we were so close and hung out so much was lonely. I mean, she's the person I called every day and told what I was eating. I mean, and so it was lonely for a bit. But I said, no, this is good for you. Like, it's going to be a little lonely, and that's okay. But this is actually good for you in the long run. And then all of a sudden, I had like new people come into my life unexpectedly. A friend of mine from Texas, introduced me to his friend here. And so now her and I are becoming friends, and it's a new energy. It's a more of a positive energy. So I'm like, oh, wow, I bet if I didn't close that door, this door wouldn't have opened. And it's uncomfortable to go through that period of loneliness. It was uncomfortable for me, especially because it was like around the holidays, and I was like,
Mm.
you know, but I'm so happy that I did. And I just kind of went, okay, the universe is trying to teach me something here. Let's just go through this and let's learn, and let's get comfortable in just this loneliness. Let's just make it your friend, because once you get comfortable in it and make it your friend, that's when things are going to start to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Being ghosted leaves people with a million questions. And in your experience, how does the feeling of being lost or confused contribute to personal growth?
Ghosting's really hard and it's very annoying to me because I did struggle with it a lot, less now. And I think it's because of the way I was raised. I was raised to be really respectful to people. And even with like online stuff, let's say online dating, but ghosting happens like even with friends. But with online dating, right, it happens a lot. And I just couldn't understand why people behave so poorly because I'm like, I'm a person on the other end of this. It's like, do you not realize that there's a person? I understand I mean nothing to you right now because, I'm not involved in your life and we don't know each other, but I have value because I'm a person. So because I have value as a person, you need to treat me like that. And I treat people like that, even if I haven't met them yet, because you're a person on earth. You're a child of God. It's like, come on, people. So I would take it very personally and it would hurt. And my friend would go, you should not take this personally. They don't know you. And I'm like, I'm taking it personally because I'm a human. It doesn't matter if they know me or not. I'm a human.
Mm. Yeah.
And so it really confused me, this whole ghosting thing. I have to say, it's very, very, and it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. It's confusing. It makes me angry. But I kind of got to this point after so many situations of being ghosted and then hearing from other people around me how they've been ghosted. I'm like, this is interesting. So now I'm not taking it personally anymore. It becomes more of why is this happening in our society? And it becomes like a growth thing. And how can we, talk about this with each other and start sharing this and also start telling people, you know, it's not okay that you ghosted me because I know you don't know me really well, but I'm a human and we made a plan or we did, or whatever it is, or we went out together and you could at least have the courtesy to write me back. And I tell, especially with the dating stuff, and I'm a woman, so like I'm telling women this, but I would tell men this too. Voice that wasn't cool because I want to be told when I did something that wasn't cool. And it feels like now people need to be spanked a little bit. You have all these like babies running around ghosting everyone. And it's like, grow up. That is not okay. And that behavior especially is not acceptable in the working world. You can't do that in the working world. Why should you be able to do it in your interpersonal world? Like somebody that ghosts all the time isn't going to be my good friend, isn't going to be somebody I date because that's a lack of integrity. So it went from like personal to confusing to okay, I'm going to deal with it in this way. And it's worked for me.
I think it's so important to use your voice after being ghosted. So good on you for speaking up and not just facing silence with silence or responding to silence with silence. So,
Oh, and what you just said, silence with silence. I love that you just said that because I always felt like I was a little bit abrupt or crazy because I would just call somebody out on bad behavior.
mhm.
And other people were like, "Oh, just leave it alone. Oh, it's not even worth messaging, but it's not even worth it. Like they don't care." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm also doing this for me because I need to express the annoyance of this." And just staying silent is kind of like, you take a slap, you take a slap, you take a slap, you take a slap. Sometimes you need to slap back, and just say, no, that is not okay. You should behave better. You're hurting people. Not cool. Not cool.
Yeah.
And if people start doing this, like let's just take women in the dating world, because these are all my friends in the dating world who talk about this stuff. And my guy friend, he talks about this too. But if you start telling people, the ghosters, we'll just say men or women, the ghosters, you start telling people this is not okay. Somebody hears it once and they're like, oh, whatever, crazy, right? Um, but then they hear it again, and then they hear it again, and they're like, oh, maybe I should stop doing this. Like, I guess this behavior isn't okay. We actually need as a society not to meet silence with silence. You're not a bigger person because you didn't say anything. You're not acting like you don't care when it hurt you because you think they didn't care. You're not winning here. But by actually expressing how you feel, I think that's a win.
I agree. And I have a free guide on copingwithghosting.com with outlines of exactly what you can say to somebody who's ghosted you at different stages of a relationship. And so that's free. So go to copingwithghosting.com. There's also a link in my show notes for this too. So
I
yeah.
love that. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Also, just one little note here. I think giving people grace and space to respond is also important because we're a society that everything is instant, right? My Amazon package that I ordered last night is coming today. So if somebody doesn't respond within 24 hours, I usually am like, okay, that's frustrating, but I give people time to reply, like usually at least a week, just because I know that things can happen, emergencies, difficult situations. Maybe they forgot and then they circled back. So it really depends on how often you speak to them. Like if you're speaking every day and then all of a sudden they're gone, still, I mean, don't accuse them of ghosting. Just wait a little bit before going into that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And especially when it comes to dating, because if a good friend of mine doesn't get back to me, I'll just probably call her again. And then I'll
Yeah.
get a message, I'm really busy for the next couple days. I'll call you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I don't consider that ghosting, because
Right.
it's a friend of mine and just got busy. But when it comes to dating, I'm like, oh, I'm more, I used to be very impulsive and I'd be like, 2 days went by and he didn't message me and he's never going to message me. So I'm going to tell him off or whatever. But sometimes people, not everybody, I'm the type of person when somebody messages me, I'm probably going to message you within that day.
Mhm.
You're probably only going to have to wait 24 hours because I'm the type of person that when something comes in, I like to get it done and off my plate. Even messaging. I even look at my messages like that. So I'm not somebody that like sits on it and does other things, but a lot of people are. So I can't expect everyone to behave and act like I act. So just because it took a few extra days, it doesn't mean that the person doesn't like you or they're not going to respond to you. It's just they operate differently or have things going on. Um, and I mean, you'll know at some point, right? Because then you never hear from them. And you could give that appropriate amount of time. I mean, if it's a week goes by, okay, a week, then I think you can say it, like say something.
I would say something casual at that point too. Like,
What would
hey,
you say?
just checking in on you. I haven't heard from you. Is everything okay? Just checking in, giving them the benefit of the doubt.
I like that. That's really good. That's really, really good. Yeah. It reminds me of oh gosh. So I had this plan to go out to brunch with this guy. This was a while back. And we had a plan for brunch on Sunday. So I don't plan anything on Sunday because him and I are going to go to brunch. And I was looking forward to it. And then Saturday comes around, don't hear from him. Sunday, I wait till like noon, right? I'm like, that's the very latest. And then I was like, okay. And then so I message him, are we still doing brunch today? Question mark. I don't hear from him for like I don't hear from him for like an hour and a half. Then I just wrote a scathing message about how rude he is. And I just was so angry because the thing is, if this was just a one off or this happened once in a blue moon, I wouldn't be angry. But when you're hearing this happening to all your friends all the time, when it happens to you a few times and it becomes a frequent thing, you just are thinking, oh, they're ghosting me. Oh, how irresponsible. You planned something with me and you can't even say yes or no to a message. And so, and then the guy writes back to my scathing message. He sends a picture of him in the hospital. And he said, and he says, I had to go to the hospital. I'm really sick, but I don't think we should talk anymore. And kind of putting it on me, like, I'm in the hospital, like, you're mean, he said, thanks for your kind words. And then I wrote him back. I said, I'm sorry that you're sick and in the hospital, but how was I supposed to know you're in the hospital? And you did make a plan with me and you could have written me. You just wrote after my scathing message, you write me back, but you don't write me back. You
Mhm.
didn't write me on Saturday saying, I'm really sick. I don't think I'll be able to do Sunday. Or, it's a text that takes 2 seconds. So, yes, bad on me for jumping to conclusions, but also I'm thinking, I don't want a guy that can't write a simple message. He wasn't in the hospital like in a coma. I mean, he had a virus,
Yeah.
he was sick. And even me being sick like that, I would say, hey, I'm really sick. I'll message you when I'm better.
Yeah.
Instead of just And then you know what he said to me, which I thought was very telling about the way people think about this. He said, I said, how was I supposed to know you were in the hospital? You didn't tell me. So I thought we were still doing brunch and you were ghosting me, which made me angry. And, sorry, I'm really sorry that you're sick though. And I'm sorry I was, I sent a angry message. And he goes, yeah, well, messaging a girl I'd never met before. Sorry, it wasn't my first priority.
What?
And
How
then I
rude.
and then I said, honestly, I think that's a really bad way to look at it. Yes, we haven't met, but I'm a person that you made a plan with, and I had no idea that you were sick. So I think it takes 2 seconds to write a text. I mean, clearly he's okay because he's responding to me, being like a little boy, being like that needs his mommy because he's sick. And I'm like, you should have messaged me because that's what adults do. I can tell you're very immature and this wouldn't work out anyway. So but I mean, that's how I felt. I felt bad. I felt like that. I'm like, that's called immaturity because you're not. And also, too, I want a man that thinks about me. I want a man that thinks about people that he makes plans with. I want a man who has responsibility for other people as well. I don't want someone that just thinks about themselves all the time and is like, well, I was sick, so that's why I didn't message you. I mean, that's baby talk.
Mhm.
Like grown up talk is, I'm sorry, I'm really sick. I'll message you when I'm better. Okay,
Mhm.
great. I hope you feel better. I'm so sorry, get well soon. Would have been nice.
I wish that people would just take a moment to realize how their silence affects other people because it's especially with a date, especially had you gotten ready? Did you get ready for the date? Like
Oh,
that's so
no,
annoying.
I don't do that anymore because
Good.
of this. Because of exactly like things like that.
Yeah.
It's because I don't now have enough faith in humanity to be like, watch out for me. Like, I don't have enough faith now because of this ghosting stuff. I don't have enough faith in these people to look out for me and be like, hey, I'm not going to make it. I mean, but one time I did get ready, and then the guy, at least he told me he wasn't going, but I was already in my car driving there ready. And
Mm,
then he told me he wasn't going to make it because he got social anxiety. I actually think he was a catfish. I think
mm.
he was probably not the person of his pictures. And so he made up something. I think sometimes these people might enjoy just having a girl wanting to go out with them.
Yeah, for sure.
And my friend even, and this just happened a couple months ago, a guy she actually met in person and went on a date with, stood her up. She's ready. She's at the restaurant. He was a no-show.
That's happened to me.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then their dating profile is magically gone. Also. Yeah, it sucks. It's really frustrating. But here's the thing. You have taken your power back because you know that your worth comes from within. And you don't need these people to validate you on any level now. So that's the
And,
positive.
and that is 100% the truth. It's annoying and it makes me angry because I feel like it's very disrespectful and it's not how I behave, but it doesn't make me feel like, oh, I wasn't good enough. That's why they didn't show up. Oh, no way. It does not in any way affect that. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah. It's really just highlighting what they lack, which is decency, respect, and communication skills.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually don't do the online dating anymore because of that
Mm,
reason. Because I'm like, I'm too busy right now. I'm like, I feel like it's lowering my vibrational frequency now. I feel
mhm.
like maybe years ago when online dating started, you could find like quality on there. But now there's like so many serial daters. It's so many people going in there with like ulterior, not good motives, so many fake people that it's a little scary. So, and for women, we got to really watch out. It can be very scary.
I agree. I believe that online dating is a place where people can find love, and it's also a place where people can get really hurt. And so just be strategic in how you use those dating apps.
Yeah, being strategic is super important to weed out the like undesirables.
I have a whole podcast episode about online dating, and I'll link to it in the show notes. I want to circle back to your book. I really felt empowered by reading it. Like it's so good. It's one of those books that I could come back to just when I want, like, I don't know, like a burst of inspiration. And one thing that was incredible is that you just talked about how confusion is a virtue. And I wonder if you could just share what you mean by that with listeners, because I think it's so, so important.
You know, it all also comes back from like over a decade ago when I was really ashamed for being confused and not having all the answers and not feeling good about myself. And I had this shame. And after I was able to get out of my depression, I thought to myself, well, I am confused. I don't feel horrible anymore. Like I'm not depressed anymore, but I still don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. What's the meaning of life? I started to ask myself these really existential questions. And and I'm like, it's so funny because why is being confused like a bad thing? Like why do we shame ourselves for needing to discover things? I mean, if you didn't have the questions, what would you figure out? It's like they say it's a mathematical problem. It's a mathematical equation. You got to figure it out. Just by looking at it, you don't know. You got to get in there and figure it out. And it's the same thing with, figuring out yourself, figuring out what you want to do in life, figuring out just what life means to you. And all of that starts with confusion. So I like to think of confusion as the fuel of your self-discovery journey. And it's what fuels you to go out there and start being curious about life, start looking at life as an adventure. So I actually think confusion is a virtue, and I think it's a superpower. I think thinking you have all the answers and you know everything is to your detriment. I know a lot now. I feel like I've gained a lot of wisdom, but I'm always going to be confused about another new thing. We're always going to have to level up in life. We're here to grow, I think. What is it? Without prosperity, people perish. Something like that. There's like this like quote in the Bible, something like that. And it's like, we're here to prosper, we're here to grow, we're here to figure things out. And it's all part of the grand experiment of being human. And one last thing on it, nobody comes into this world with a manual on your life. So you don't have to feel bad when you're asking questions about yourself, about life, and you're confused. It's actually a great opportunity to figure some amazing things out.
Yeah, for me, being confused about why have I been ghosted so much has led to such self-discovery. It's been wonderful. I'm not happy that I was ghosted. I wish it never had ever happened. And yet there are lots of benefits because it inspired me to answer a lot of questions about ghosting for everyone and to learn about myself.
Yeah, and also I think to know that other like you're not alone, other people aren't alone. I think in our very, digital society now, and we don't hang out as much as we used to, and we don't go to as many community functions, and we're isolated more. And I think we tend to think, oh, it's just me. Or I think there's, some embarrassment. Like I used to be embarrassed if I was ghosted. There was some
Mm-hmm.
shame or embarrassment around it. But by actually sharing it, it's like, oh, this is happening to everybody. This is not personal. This is like, again, like a societal pandemic. And it's like a virus in society. And by talking about it and sharing how it hurts and ways to combat it and standing up for yourself and telling people it's not okay to do that. And you're fighting the virus, you're beating the virus. And eventually you'll beat it out of society. If enough people rise up and go, nope, we got to stop with this. This is not acceptable. And you start to beat it out of society.
Yes, exactly. Is there anything else you'd like to share with listeners about being ghosted or ghosting in general?
I would just say again, don't take it personally. It's not personal. It's happening to all of us. And I would say limit the ways that because it doesn't feel good. It is a lower frequency when that happens, you go into. So I would say start to limit the people in your life and the ways in which you get ghosted. If you're doing a lot of online dating, maybe instead of doing that, like join a running club or some kind of activities club to meet people. If you have friends in your life that are doing that to you and that doesn't feel good, then I would say tell those friends, I'm not going to invite you to things anymore. My friend did that. He goes, not to me, but to his other friends. He said, if you're going to ghost, if you're going to do this, I'm not inviting you to things anymore. And we don't have to hang out anymore because I'm not putting up with it. And so it's like, let people know. And if you're a ghoster, then stop doing it. And it's not cool to say, I know that's tempting to go, oh, they did it to me. So now I'm going to do it to somebody else. But you're literally continuing the cycle of pain. And why do you want to inflict the pain that you felt onto somebody else? That's not good karma. It's not good for you. It's not good for society. So be bigger than that. Be a bigger person and actually choose not to do that. And then so when the person does it to you, you firmly can go, you know what? This is not cool that you do that and you should really stop because it's a big lack of integrity.
Yeah,
That would be my advice.
I love that. How can listeners connect with you and get a copy of your new book?
So you can go to my website, confusedgirlinthecity.com, and you'll find all the links for my book. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble website. Right now, you can pre-order it. And if you do pre-order it and you send me a screenshot and you can get my email from the website, then you'll enter to win $100 gift card from my store and also a 2-night stay at an amazing resort in Maui.
Wow. And when is it coming out?
It's released May 13th.
Perfect.
Yeah. So now it's like pre-order time. And then if you want to just connect and see what I'm up to, my Instagram is at confusedgirlla.
And that's a really fun Instagram to follow. Yeah.
Lots of fun things. I travel a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Greta. I really appreciate it.
This has been fun. And listeners, did you know that you can watch the full video episode of this podcast on Coping with Ghosting's YouTube channel? Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'd also love for you to connect with me on social media. I'm at Coping with Ghosting, and I have a free and private Coping with Ghosting Facebook support group. And if you haven't already, please review and rate the show. It will help other people find me. Finally, remember when you've been ghosted, you have more time to connect with yourself and people who have stellar communication skills. You deserve the best.
You're just a ghost to me.
Hey, I'm so excited to tell you about Coping with Ghosting 101. This is my signature program that's going to help you heal, shift your mindset, and find clarity fast. It's under an hour, and you'll learn the healing essentials that you need after being ghosted, from powerful strategies to reframe your experience to ways to help you build your confidence. Plus, I've included a special bonus. There's guided relaxation exercises that will help you feel calm and grounded. This video workshop provides the support and clarity you need to move forward anytime and anywhere. Download Coping with Ghosting 101 today at copingwithghosting.com or click the link in the show notes. Go directly there and start feeling better now.